TMO Online Television, its associates and affiliates may not be liable for views expressed on this show. Viewer discretion advised.
But I regulate. I saw to that when I joined the Museveni, I saw to that I was building my political career. But I landed in the political landmine. I regulate at times. I wake up at night and I cry. I ended up killing my political career. I will never go back to State House until there is a new facility. Until no namuku. How can you fight a man with me? And nobody can assure you. Nobody can reconcile me with these people. Where do you find the State House? Ngaba kolanga mu State House bonna bakacha mabani. Bonna baduse Canada. Don't you see? Don't you see?
Beba nanyine companies twala abantu.
Yes, nakale mu mulimo gwe. Yalwanyisanga ma company malaba.
Agaba no
Abaganda batugamba nti akuma ebijanjala kunyachi. Mbi. Where they started getting younger people for not only for labor, but some companies masqueraded as labor exporting companies when they were taking for organs. That's why you had to undergo a testing. That's why a certain clinic in Kampala bakola mutu bamanyi bajja baba batirewa nabo munakola mutu clinic bajimanyi baba kuba ebifaananyi tujja kufuna buli yakola mu ndaba beba mbete mutte. You better close it. Close that clinic. Uganda is not about it. No, you get your quota, but you call them beba basi mbabulira nti batandika wana. The pioneer doctor who started this thing is Kanyerezi, Professor Kanyerezi. Professor Kanyerezi came to me and confessed. The tape, the recordings are here. Kanyerezi left me with the list. Luhindi, former Minister and Attorney General, became the ex-tutor. He's the chairperson of the Fellowship. Luhindi, nibajolonga gundi ono omukazi bamugemeire ajoga abantu buli wamwamutekawo. That one is the chairman of the Fellowship.
Mbalamusiza nnyo buli omu gyasinzira okubanga mutulaba 2022 mukole nnyo mugattewo ku bbanga covid lyatwonoonyeeko. Yenze Saalongo Kanka Kapita nze natuddeyo dda ne mutabani wa Mole Namatovu Mirundi tuzze okubaweereza ekitundu kyaffe ekirala ekya political dose. Ayina omuntu eyamenyeka eggumba oyo yenna yanuuka ekinywa bano bambadde enzannya n'enkyuka bunwe n'ebirala abaazaala ne musoboka kubira ku jjajja Jjumba lubo aligaweesa ow'emikono mu kirowoozo ayina kiliniki ejjanjaba amagumba. Ayina obusobozi Ssaako n'obukugu obukujjanjaba nga tolumiziddwa. Musajja mukulu ono ayina eddwaliro eri separate mwasobola n'okkuwa ekitanda. Jjajja w'abaana akuyita akugamba ne bw'aba mwana muto okutandikira ku mwezi asobola omuyunga nammwe abataamatira nga babayunze asobola okuba nga addamu n'atereezaawo awatali bulumi ekintu ne kiddamu ne kiteerera mugende mukono mu kirowooza ku ddwaliro ly'amagumba. Bakubiriza mwenna abalina okutambula muyambise kampuni ya Juba Royal Travel eno nga yeekafulu mu kuteekateeka empapula n'ebiwandiiko byonna ebikuyambako okutambula. Juba Royal Travel esangibwa ku Park Royal Building opposite Senana Supermarket mwe abamanyi restaurant y'abaguma oludda lw'ekimmanga lw'ekizimbe kya Park Royal. Bano basobola okukolera ku by'okutambula ku byokola South Sudan Ssaako wano mu Uganda. South Sudan basangibwa ku Crown Hotel opposite reception wano mu Uganda ojja basanga ku Park Royal. Ebintu byonna ebirimu okutambula ate mu abagenda ku honeymoon bo bakutegekera n'osigala ku mirimo gyo n'obakujjukiza bujjukiza lunaku lw'ogenda nga buli kimu kyategekeddwa omuli hotel reservations ebirala byonna n'okuhandulinga emigugu gyo obulungi. Emitala w'amayanja gye muli eyo abasinga nammwe abali wano mu ggwanga Uganda bw'oba oyagala okuva ku ddaala erimu ogenda ku ddaala ng'oyagala kuzimba weesiga omusikawuti omuzimbi ayitibwa Nkooyooyo Elisa Kiwana ne kampuni ya Stone Roofing and Construction Company. Balina tekinologiya yakuteera kamera ku sayiti yo nga bakuzimbira n'otatawaana kuva ku mirimu gyo n'osigala ng'okola anti 2022 kugattawo. Kaakati bakuwa obunamba obuyitibwa logins ne weeyambisa essimu yo oba ne kompyuta yo okusobola okumonitaringa oba okulaba ki ekigenda mu maaso ku sayiti. Bazimbi abeesimbwa abatalimba basikawutu abalina amaanyi omulimu bagukolera mu bbanga lyo bakusuubiza tebalinayo ne ku poloti ze basobola okuguza ogenda okuzimbako ng'ekyapa kyekakafu tobeere na nkaayana gye bujja. Birango bitono nnyo byenkubye ebyo mu byegatteko tusobole okutambula naye nga kambabuulire katugende butereevu ne muzeeyi Tamale mirundi tugonjoole ensonga. Tubalamusizzaako mwena gye musizire okutulaba mwebale nnyo okutuwagira Ssaako n'okutwagala. Ndine mutabani wa Mole n'amatovu mirundi Joseph Tamale mirundi senior okubatuusaako ekitundu kino ekirala. Muzeeyi Ssebo gyebaleko
nkale
abantu program mbazaagala naye ekisinga nze ate okunchallenging ennaku zino ate byoyogera babitegeera luvannyuma.
Yes bwe kiri
kubanga ojja n'owa information mu mwaka guno n'ebaawo kubanga tumanyi abantu beebuuza goba wagitegeera ddi.
Anti nabagamba nze eno Mafia Museveni batandika omulwanyisa mu 2009 Mbabazi n'ayingirawo Besigye yejja mu 2 afuta Semwogerere Besigye yejja mu 2021 bonna bazze mbalaba ate nze nali mu opposition nava mu DP ngamba manyi but I regulate. I saw to that when I joined the Museveni, I saw to that I was building my political career. But I landed in the political landmine. I regulate at times. I wake up at night and I cry. I ended up killing my political career because now I'm 63. 7 years from now, one term I will be 70. I've gone. Mukodomi wa Museveni lwabwo nankuba nanteekawo n'obufere buno bw'omwenda bw'otumwebaze bajja baba buttire wano balibo bane babawasa omutwe. My consolation balitunda ebintu byabwe ndirabako lwabwe ogwo kabangali ndirabako lwabwe ogwo nga muvinga mu wheelchair babankuba Museveni nalowooza mbu ankanyuka Kasasiro me to go to be an advisor me. No, I cannot be an advisor. Advisor role is intended for all the people, like Uganda. It is a jirikiti where they throw dirty dogs.
I see.
I just kept quiet. I did not want to embarrass him because I saw that Museveni saw that removing me, he humiliated me in that meeting. That's why everybody, Bamani, but it wasn't in Komye. To Kasasiro. I cannot go Kasasiro. I'll never go to Kasasiro.
I see.
When my mother was crippled, Sajja kajja wono ka bono butu mwebaze nembwa zinembwa obwali butabantu. Where I sympathize with Museveni. Baboko nogamba navumye nazala. I will never go back to State House until there is a new facility. Until no namuvu. Nchokola ndabichi bankola siriri nyayo. I never go back.
I see.
But they will pay. Wabogo will compensate. This is no compensation. Not negotiable. Nebaleta sente naziwamba. Nangana bakagabo na family yang. Kiriyo. Bana bano bajozi nnyo kababo. Beba bwase emitwe. Kuba bwali bulowooza nabugwamu nga butta abantu. You see, obutakkuta. The problem with the Westerners is that they grew up in amassing wealth. A cattle keeper will never be satisfied and kubanga buli nte 10 eggana. Because it puzzles me. Luwabogo who had all of the avenues of getting money. Nanyoga amata, nanyoga ennyama, nanyoga buli kimu. Muganda bwe nakuba ennyanja, n'atunda empuuta. How could he involve himself in the organic good? Today, they were preparing in Serena My machines captured them. I will play a tape where Waboko is testifying on Saturday. Ateba nalakawo. Ejjogo lyo nandi mu bende mujire muddala. Anzita kumacha. Bamutta lwaggulu. Teriyo kutegeeragana ku nsi mu kabbuli ne muggulu. Omulenzi oyo atujoze nnyo. Family yange yonna neebonaabona. Did we meander into State House? Did we go to State House as miracles? Why do you humiliate me? Omuntu azaala n'ojooga omwana wa munno. Did I go to school for nothing? I hear they are abalokole. We are born in God's image. None of us was bought from a supermarket as a doll.
Of course.
N'omujooga n'omukanyuka kasasiro n'omukanyuka wano mukanyuka embwayo n'emmotoka yennyini temuli mafuta kubanga banyigiriza embunkomewo. Never in my life I never work with them again. What I want is a compensation from Lwaboko and his group, and they do it. The Baganda call it okutegula. Okutegula is not mercy. You have to pay to save your children and grandchildren. So these people, the mistake they did was to take them to State House. And they didn't know. I'm not a civil servant. I don't have that character of being a civil servant. When you remove me from the material room, you take me to a sitting room, I become a visitor. When you take me to the kitchen, a boy's quarter, I'm a samba boy or a house girl. You take me to the kitchen, I'm a bag of manda. I don't wait to be okunya mutoilet. I left 8 years. Nakalema said, how can you fight a man with me? And nobody can assure you. Nobody can reconcile me with these people. I lost.
But Mzee,
many people think.
People are wondering how you continue supporting Museveni.
Yes.
After his clansmen, tribesmen,
I continue supporting Museveni. Why?
Humiliating you like that.
And you don't know. Na supporting Museveni abategeri abaire wa abategeri. I knew that at a particular time he will know them. That's why I tell people that if your co-wife chooses you of carrying a pregnancy that does not belong to your husband, what do? Do you abort? No, don't abort. Deliver the baby so that the attention is moved from the pregnancy that the people don't see to the baby.
Yes.
Now Museveni knows them. He knows them.
But he's doing nothing.
The public knows them. No, it's
maybe the public.
It is not a question of Museveni. Their future. They will get a wholesale government. You kill people's children. Museveni, if I can calculate, how many years is Museveni remaining in the power? And these are younger people. Tumwebaze is young. Lwabogo is young. Mwenda is young. Many of these people are involved in the organic case are young. So where will they be?
You were telling us, Mzee, a long time that these people have companies taking Ugandans abroad and they take them to kill them.
How did it start?
Yes, I need to know that.
It started in Arab countries. Why? Because of the nature of food the Arabs eat. They develop kidney problems, heart problems. These are rich people. That's why, in many cases, what brings, today we know, the heart attacks, because it's result of this. It depends, they eat indiga, they eat what, boiled what, the Arabs. So when it came a time, when the Arabs were dying, for lack of spare parts. And you remember the Arabs were involved in slavery. All other countries engaged in slavery. But the problem of the Arabs, they hate the black. That's why you don't see remnant of the evidence of slavery in Arab countries. I mean, at one time said, if Arabs were engaged in slave trade, where do you see the Arabs? They were the blacks. Were castrated. They were castrated in Arab countries. Up to today, contrary to what many people know, the many of these Arab countries have a law on slavery. Somebody can hire you as a slave.
I see.
It is a law.
Is it legal?
Yes, it is illegal in some countries.
I see.
It's illegal. Even in Uganda at one time, it was illegal for a man to butter. A woman was considered as I have paid for you nakugula. Kakati until Obete's take over a revolution that a man who battered his wife was taken to court, and the traditional that helped men to batter their wives. In fact, women were brought up thinking to batter them is jealous, an expression of possessiveness. Almost many women believe it. What about me who doesn't batter my wives? And I've been with them for the last 30 years. Yes. Why do you think?
People are wondering, you are why?
How can I batter my wife?
I see.
No. I can shout. May I shout? May I quarrel? But I cannot batter a woman.
I see.
No. And that when you batter my daughter and you come to correct her, I can spear you, can shoot you.
I see.
Batter my daughter and see. I have a Land Cruiser, which is always filled capacity, full capacity. The tanker is full capacity. When my daughter calls me on the phone, Tata Gundi and Kuba, I come with a hammer and sururu, and I smash you. Because you kill one man, another woman.
Yes.
So for me, I'm telling you, how did it start? It started this way. Where they started getting younger people for not only for labor, but some companies masqueraded as labor exporting companies when they were taking for organs. That's why you had to undergo a testing. That's why a certain clinic in Kampala, baba batire wan nabo munakola mutya clinic bajimanyi baba kube ebifaananyi tujja kufuna buli yakola muyo naba beba mbete ndi beba mbete ndi beba mutte. You better close it. Close that clinic. Uganda is not about it. No, you bajja kwota bajikola beba basemitwe mbabulira. We are moving to a dangerous situation to the mafias.
I see.
It is the end of road for mafiaism in Uganda. I'm telling you. They are losing the battle. Kakati, nebafuna. Kati ewamu bakugambanga, you have to pay your ticket, but they were paid. Into kamwende ntuyako lwawogo kano katabani kakajiji kada no jogondi ruhindi oyo wenakawa. Kakati bana abasajja ekyabakola obubi baali bakola dda ekibiina ky'ababbi nga bakiyita Fellowship. The only people who were not fully member, who were not members of Fellowship, was Museveni and Muhoozi. Kakati nga tebayinza kukkiriza obujozi bwabwe monopolism ennoni bwejjo nannyini ensi yagitwala. Amata bwe gajja nannyini ensi yagatwala. Bw'abeerawo ego nannyini ensi n'ayinvestinga mu mawulire. Kyobulaba yanneereegeramu naye mukubye nkumazeewo oddanga ate nja kukulabako mu kagaali k'abalemu nja kukulabako kabangali nga lubindi ziri waggulu bwezi you wait anzite bamutte be bamwasa omutwe njagala ejjogoli obulenzi buno balibere ddala balimale wano. Kakati kyova olaba Nakalema bamuhayalinga nga company balina okufuna monopoly. Everywhere there is monopoly. When they buy pioneer buses, water has to go. Monopolism. Because they lack a business acumenship. You lack a business. The mafias in Uganda lack a business acumenship. Kakati webakwatira. Kati bagenda bano balwabogo balina amakampuni gaabwe gokakolera bweru. And Lwabogo is arguing that for me I'm not concerned. Why? The companies, for us the responsibility. Muchaja temukwaya nakolayo katumwebaze ne kajja ne katula ono olutwe lwako n'olutwe olukalinga olugosi. Museveni n'agoba mukwaya akasajja ako ne katuulako Museveni has been embarrassed, has been exposed.
I see.
Ntio yayagala nnyo okuyamba obusajja buno obufere bwanga ate bumuli bubi. Nze nabatunulira mu meeting nga bangoba neŋŋamba kale ngenze nagenda mu nsozi ewaffe si tebaddanga mukunda. They never see me physically. I don't think that I ever see these people physically.
I see.
Ku nsi mu kabuli ne mu ggulu situliddemu kulabika. I work in another government. Nsobola okukoleramu ya mukozi eya Museveni sirigiddamu. No. Yaleeta kantu eya pusi nekateekako obuteepu ne bamukola. They humiliated me to the bone marrow. Nolinka benkattirewo neguli ninkasanga nga kuba ninkasa omutwe. I still remember that meeting as if it was yesterday.
Nzeika akubuuzi njawulo kyeri wakati wa Muhoozi ne Museveni okugamba nti ya Museveni togikoleramu naye ya Muhoozi osobola ogikoleramu.
Tasobola kugoba bano. They became an integral part of him.
Oli asobola bagoba.
Until today, anti bumulwanyisa.
Asobola bagoba.
Jeshi lwaboga akoze ensobi yalwanyisa Muhoozi.
Sikiwa oli mukoowe.
Lwaboga akoze ensobi bamukozi nebo bamukozi nebo ko Amawulire gaabo. That's why I support Muhoozi. Ajja butufungira yaja ono Museveni yetajja bufunga. Naye lwaboga ajja bufunga. Manya gundi.
Muhoozi.
Chovula lwaboga.
Abakobe.
Lwaboga agamba. Lwaboga agamba.
Sichikakasati anabagoba.
Lwaboga doesn't want Muhoozi.
Hey.
Yes, I can genda kuwa butepu. Nga insistinga. Even 2 days ago, yalimu emi nipasa. Nanga, when Muhoozi takes power, how so are we? When Muhoozi meets Kagame, how so are we? What he said, muyali gendeddeko. Nekali bintise ngogenda ino famu yo. Bagenza kutesa kumata omusajja ajoga. Lwaboga ajoga. Allah tuonye lwaboga amujulule. Banga lwaboga bwakwata ku power wano. Lwaboga katonda bwalabikanga agenda kwata ku power. Allah tuyamba amujulule. Allah amujulule. Bananga akalinzi kali arrogant. He would have accompanied gundi. Afende Muhoozi. Ngenda kakuwa katambi kakube.
Ngagende
Rwanda. Ngenda kakuwa kakube. Kakube kusejja kano kabirira abantu bakategeere. Twagala we are luring him into a trap. Ateyo muntu famu zikwata omuli. Factory zikwata omuli.
Watusubiza okuba akatabo.
Badduka. Wabogo bwaliduka wano. Alidukira mu mama.
The making of an African Hitler. Wayagala watugamba ogenda kakuba.
Abanyankole fatino kuba Afrika. Abaganda bayina kubambwa. Abasoga bayina kubambwa. Ngaliyo ku Obukulembeze. Kati nkugamba. Nti bano batumwebaze. Ate ne bakolawo ne roko branch etira abantu mu malwaliro.
Eyawa no mu Uganda.
Kati eri. Kakati ate ne babino kimana wano. That's why there are two groups. The group that were 4,500 Ugandans were killed in India alone, according to UN documents. Okay,
I see.
Where I see that they have a very big presence in the government. Museveni sacked Otafire as Minister of Justice. The other man, the UPC man who represented, was defeated. Bamuteka consent. Museveni sacked Hajati Mukwaya, Mujenda, Najo Negu.
And put it to Mwebazi.
Lwabogo wa amanyi nyonga Mafia eno Fellowship ya amanyi. Zanji kubye. Akamega enjovu. Enjovu akasisike kajiyingira Mukutu. Let them kill me. Baba kube babatire ono. Bintu bakube ntwe bazaasi. Bejogo bali Bujjingo.
Sicha kyabagambye omusajja w'ezzana. How can this man?
Yes.
In Zana.
Lwabogo yagamba. How can this man, by the time you were a getty man, I was a powerful journalist.
I see.
Mwansanga wo. Mwansanga wo. Era mujja kundekawo.
Leka kati mzee.
Toyinza kunjoga ngati unjoga ki.
Mzee.
Kitawe ina sente.
Njagala kubuuza.
We ali getty man. Sikawa ina sente kwe kitawe wali badotu joga.
Njagala kubuuza mzee.
Wabasanjuba na mwezi. Omulenzi najoga ensi yonna. Najijoga fena ke state house. Where do you find a state house? Ngaba kolanga mu state house bonna bakacha mabani. Bonna baduse bali Canada.
Mzee.
Don't you see?
Beba nanyine companies twala abantu
weru. Yes, nakale mu mulimo gwe. Yalwanyisanga ma company malaba.
Agaba no
Abaganda batugamba. Nti akuma ebijanjala akunyaki. Mpi. Kakati as a result bali babagana okukola. Nakale mu mwali nakalema mwali nakalema mwali ajja kukwatibwa
bo baali bazigaananga ekigendererwa kyabwe
anti bobe eri bizinesi yakuliza baana era we have put up
batwala abaana abatadda
tutaddewo company to make accountability abaana tubanoonya batunda ebintu byabwe obanga yo gavumenti ya Museveni teri bitunda tulifunayo gavumenti eri bitunda netulaba mutabani wa Kajiji naddayo mu bwolo obunuka mutabani wa Kajiji aliddayo mu bwolo obunuka mu bwolo bajja kutunda n'akajiko mu nyumba kana kentwe kano kaliddukiramu okudduka wano kajja kuddukira mu mamba ya Muganda kajja kudduka olutwe nga balunoonya olutwe babaali
naye oyo buzeeyi ye mukwano gwa Muhoozi Nambeemu. Every time I see him there making statements and small videos,
I don't mind.
Short videos.
Kubolire. Tiakasajja ko ngenda kuwa tape nga kalindirwa abo go bavangeze ku bali wali kamugamba tovamu. Tovamu res. Akasajja nga kuntikulaka. Video. 2 days ago, 3 days ago nga baparking. Nga kamugamba tovamu lemeramu. Yes. Kuba zibyo nambi yina ngenda bikuwa biwulire kakati nkuga nti the problem is bagulawo branch wano
ne batandika okuttira abantu
wano eri ey'okutwala abantu ebweru ndala yereetesa lwabwogo who is going to testify on Thursday at Serena ono ye tumwebaze ye bamwetaaga Heege kubanga ye yaleeta omupakistani wano balimba nti omupakistani wa pharmacist azze kukola ki kozinga ye mulala kati ekyabakola obubi kutagetinga mukazi wange nemba tegeera only the day the Pakistan arrived is when the day I started monitoring them.
I see.
Baali tebamanyi nti ebyuma mbiyina kakati ne beestablishinga network. This is why Lukwago the permanent secretary of health bamujjawo akulo mwali akulo tayinza kulira Interpol I will give these Europeans money information akulo yetaaga kwata akulo is a suspect akulo must be arrested akulo knew and yet assassin how can intelligence fail nabagamba nti intelligence yali emanyi naye nga tewali ayogera ku lwabo okwo bw'oyogera otya ogamba otya setalawo omuntu n'omugamba nti ate gundi nti ogundi wo omukoddomi we yakola bino nti batandika wano the pioneer doctor who started this thing is Kanyerezi, Professor Kanyerezi. Professor Kanyerezi came to me and confessed. The tape, the recordings are here. Kanyerezi left me with the list. Luhindi, former Minister and Attorney General, became the ex-tutor. He's the chairperson of the Fellowship. Luhindi, buli omu nanga lubaboga amuteekawo ne bajolonga gundi ono omukazi bamugemeire babogo ngo ajoga abantu buli wamu amuteekawo. That one is the chairman of the Fellowship. If there is a person I don't respect at all, is Lwaboko.
I see.
Nomulabanga inenga tuzalumwa. They were paupers by the time they come into the media. I was a powerful man. I've never been a poor man in my life. That's why I'm arrogant. I come from a rich family.
I see.
Compared, if for us, we have never stolen from government. But we have assets, tangible assets.
I see.
You kill me, they kill you.
I see.
And I have a very big following in the government, the army, and everywhere.
I see.
Even when you see here, what is security one?
Weri.
Waboko bamwepikira. Wali wamuwaga. Yeah, wali wamu. Bakala bamukwatiko nga namuwaga akyaliwo. It would be in the interest of Lwabo to reconcile with the Afende Muhoozi. Namuwa okubeera advisor on local defense matters. Never namulwanyisa. Abantu bagala bamulabeko. Abantu bagala balabeko. Lwabwogo kabanga ngajikwanga baddeko ne galubindi ngembuze nnume. Abantu abanyankole ate bo bali bica nnyo. Abanyankole baga tubuulire olunaku lwanawo obujulizi tulinye. Abbi amata gaffe yafikisinga price yakola. Njaba kubira enkuŋŋaana z'abanyankole mu vanachula. Museveni yali kyewuunya ekiri mu akole. Lwamirama ali mugoba kiro. Lwamirama kyakoze abanyankole. naye bamwepikira ndi lwamirama bamwepikira neri tumwine bamwepikira nemudya nemudikira alinga kafyu nemutwalendeza abanamwe ku ddondolo
yabivaamu kati ali mu bibye
eri tumwine naye bamwepikira abanyankole bamwepikira bagambwa abo babadde badikira alinga kalusu ne basiba ekitundu ne bagenda ekiro ne bajjayo ente ku ddondolo bannamwe abagula eddagala nga bamanyi bagula eddagala Sekikuba n'avayo ne mukwata ne musiba eri tumwine bamwepikira lw'emirama bamwepikira lwabwogo bamwepikira ngenda bbawaako kanda bani mukwano gwange mukwezi leti mukwezi kamubakaizawe ngenda kumuwa ku butambi obwo awulire ku nkuŋŋaana z'abanyankole nga babepikira baga nti bampeete nnya otubuulirangako ngo owagalubindi ali eheege agendeyo ku lwakuna muserena mugendeyo bamwepikira abanyankole bamwepikira kati aliddukirawa agenda kuddukirawa ne galubindi ze agade nkubuulira ne gamba ti bakola bwe bati they established they had means of getting these organs because the organs are taken from you when you are still alive. They don't get organs from dead people. In fact, Uganda Airlines was restored for this purpose. The maiden freight to Mombasa took a container. There is a container where you know where it is. Container kasabakwa to Pakistan yalemerawo. Tumwebaza ina an estate again. Umenye omwavu yali omwavu agula amandazi n'agula tumwebaze tasobola kuyingira bakayolera n'olutwe lwako n'olutwe lwako n'olutwe ne bakayolerawo kajjako porogulamu zange mbazijeko ngende nolinja kutta agenda mu office nenja bamba tte kuba nalimba manyi abasajja bano nabeetegekera njaba baba battire wano batunda ebintu byamu the rocks in your property basasula abaana eyo gondi njokola kubula bakongo budduka ngaba mukibuga babwocha ebipiira wano. That's my aim. Not reconciliation.
Yagala kubuuza mzee waliwo be bakutte ku bya organs
ebyo babulimba kakati nkubulya nkugamba nti in what were the killing centers Kirudu, as you hear the man talking.
Yes,
Kirudu was a big center supplier. Lugazi, the accents in sugar cane plantations were manufactured. These were intended by a motor of our border night. In eastern Uganda, Tafiki buses used to knock each other. I told you that the battle over who should be the bishop, the Anglican bishop of Teso, in Teso, originates from the organic cases. There is a prominent doctor who has been involved in organic cases. Who doesn't want this man to be bishop? Because he knows his background. Two, he's there. If this man becomes the bishop of that area, in the Anglican Bishop's College that elects Archbishop will be the youngest. He can outlive all of these people.
I see.
Kazimba yava ne ewawe ngabambo capitalism. Kazimba is a fugitive. Kakati church house area tumwebaza. Era sente zevude nezide. Nibagala kuba luwalira. Di omunyo gwensa okusigadde mu Anglican church zirwalira.
I see.
Bokwata kulwalira kuba. Luwalira abera mu Katuliki. Singa luwalira abadde mu Katuliki yali badde saint, yali badde omutuukirivu luwalira. Bano bonna bafere. Ono bamujja mu bende bannankabirwa batumwebaze nga bamuyingira mudde yawumulwa mudde ebituli ate atya nnyo mukazi we abanga nti mukereziya ya Uganda mu Anglican Church mulimu mukaloni ekyanga abasajja abasiya zali Germany bamujjanjaba kabaka bwagendayo nga bayumba anda mutubuulireyo mukomulabirizi kye yali atwalidde mu expensive gundi tumukubi mukachi bishop tumukubireko mu ngalo. Yes, is a
wamanyi nyo
wamanyi muti ba mafia bali mu bibali nalonda nankabira representative mu government nalonda luwalira ye musajja asigadde mu Anglican Church And when I get another a son, I will name him Olw'Embeera.
I see.
Yes, I admire. Mwangirikani church.
I see.
Olw'Embeera singa ba Mukatuliki ali badde sayent. Ate ne Mukatuliki era kati Olw'Embeera n'afa. Era tujja musabanga tulabe nti yatuuka mu ggulu. Wadde Wangirikani. Naye osobola omusaba n'otegeera Olw'Embeera tujja musabanga. Olw'Embeera yekka gwe munnyo gw'ensi ogusigadde Mwangirikani. Abalala fenensi. Bala babalya dda biwuka. Balinga misota batambula bulungi naye misota.
Mafia.
Nti look, Anglican Church Hospital. Sir Albert Kkwo is where they killed my daughter. Nga Bachina bayina mu cell. Imagine. Ensambia Hospital. Nga gye bakuwa buno obwa yero abaana bagende.
Yellow fever.
Yes, Nsambia. Lubaga balimu abatta abantu. They were there. Eddwaliro kama batattira abantu lyali gundi ery'abasiraamu. Yes. Kubanga abasiraamu bo ekyabayamba nti omulambo teguli mu coffin. Nabo bonna be mulaba operation eziri mu Kampala batembe ebiki. They are looking for organs. Abaana babula. Ne mu COVID batutta abantu bangi. Kubanga
diru zinani azirimu.
Anti nkugambye.
Nemze tolowooza nti nno joblessness eri mu Uganda etwala abantu
ebisobola. It was
intended
kugambye nti the Arabs have this problem of developing weaknesses in the kidneys because of the food they eat. Balya nnyo butto. Tebalina vegetables. Tebadiri ddungu. Balya endiga. Kankubulirize nalabako omusajja ku mabuledi omukira gw'endiga aguwuuse. Omukira gw'endiga gwogumanyi. Bagukuba ne bagufumba mu luwombo omusajja aguwuuta. Kakati tebayina emitima gya bafuna abaana bazaalibwa baliko ebituli. Kakati what they have done, they have turned the Ugandan hospitals into akatale kewakiseka for human spares. Kakati bayikyabakola obubi olw'eddogo lyange nabaloga bonna bajja kuggwawo okujjako nga bateegudde. Nekulubya ne kabusi dirupe wali yanjoga tishira stake kazi ya serikali. What I want is pesa peke yake. Sagala kukola kana nabo tetuliddamu. When you become to the level of kutegula you just throw the money. Nibage sene muswale wa mukozi sente zange lwabogoze yakwata as kwat
Kambuze mzee bano bebajjangamu organize.
Yes.
Bo baba identifying batya nti oyo yeyiye namu olweta gomujja mu ekibumba.
Those who are taken abroad you had to undergo
a check up.
I
see.
And they know waliwo eyo notorious clinic mujigale bantu bajja jisinda baba beba tege mu bomu olabyo bwekigwa ku ttaka bwe badduka bonna babamanyi abakirimu bonna bali mu clinic eyo babamanyi bajja bagonda emikko bali batta abaana bamu musenya abantu nono omwana gwe bakwata yayogera clinic yemu ono omwana oyo
yali atta abantu n'akulabye
nanyiniyo duka. You man, run away with your family to the USC. People are still going on. You begin to baba kwasa mtuba bomb to go bakwasa.
Clinic every muntu agimanyi.
Clinic bagimanyi. Niba joko abakolera mba bebifana nyinga bayingiranga bafuluma. Wali wonu nakululire bagenda okubajimba. Towo zambu nakoleranga mu ikaliwu. Kulozi itandira nawe. I'm telling you.
Towo zambu nalinjera.
Bwe bamala okukwatira.
Nayerangayo.
Abana bebakwatidde ebwe abo kati batumwebaze ne bateeka wano tumwebaze n'aleeta omupakistan n'alimba mu pharmacist omupakistan ebifaananyi ne tumwebaze tubiina nti Kirudu Masaka eriyo Dokita Namaganda
kitovu
egindi emulago waliyo wabuya ne bweyomba obutambi bwe buli video naki tebali abachina abali mu gonna nyingi nga bwobuliramu. In fact, many people, many accidents. Nti ogenze n'omuntu mwekamba yigirize. Ogenda n'omusajja nti bw'oli driver minister omuvuzi omutwale ewaabo. Waliwo omusajja gwe battale bamujjamu organize ekisolo. Ne badde emmotoka ne bagisindika mu luwonko. Mbutwadde twebase n'avuga emmotoka n'akola kozi bamuteeramu kalifumu. Yes. Be careful.
I see.
If you were a younger girl, kati omuvuka w'ennansana yate mu Yudaya abayudaya n'obwongo babutwala bakuba n'abaana bagezi ku ssomero they are targeted mine mbattammwe nje bukata kusi n'aliko singo nekitawo wako nali muse nekitawo nali muse yazalo
olokana akavuka ke nakulabye nako
olaba bakozere koji
nkaine emirambo gy'abawala esatu
newaabwe nikitawe yennyini singa taliiwo kubanga kino ekyakuba omwana nga famire nagitwalayo ewaffe nengiwabira mu nsozi olaba bano basasudde famire yaabwe erina okugwawo ekibanja kyabwe kirimeramu settaawo awanteriyo saagala muntu aneriga amwe mandwa when you attack me we don't reconcile what if these boys had succeeded if they had batekawo tape ku Museveni ninga gundi yonna njikubye eyo gundi yabwe eyo fellowship group njikubye yonna ninjimalawo njikubye nenjibetenta kill me you'll pay every maggot that comes out of my body is paid for by a human being njagala mbalageko ejjogo ly'okulowooza mu ssente dangolingi money ejjogo eryo muligwemu money twazirekayo you are not the first people to have money. The Nubians had money, you people had money, but money is not it is harmony. Permanent politics is not based on slave and master. Hunting dog and master is an alliance. Why do I support Muhozi? Simulabanga nako. Bagenzeyo Uncle Sam yagenze wa Muhozi. Namugana nti simulabangako. Mutugambireko nti simumanyi. Tyati atugambye sentu ziteeke wano. Nabaga muzirere. Nino omuntu anazimuwa. Ataloza waliwo gye sibalaba. Bujjingo the last meeting tedite yagenda. Nika akawumba tutu kapasa akawumba tutu. I've told you. If people are in the habit of killing their spouses, and these people have disagreed, do you want this man to kill? Bishop Cyprian Bamuzi Yatamukazu, it is alleged, Yatamukazu. Bill Gates has divorced his wife. Nsonga, the younger beautiful girl. Yes, we hear. You tell your nephew the way it has that she knocked the husband. Gundi Yaduka. Dokitani, she Australia. Yeah, because the woman wanted to file a divorce case in Australia to get more property. So if you have people who have killed each other, is it wise to maintain a quarreling couple together? No. Yes. It cannot happen. If you want did Jesus marry? No. The kingdom of God, Gomsias, the other day some pastors were accused of Kusiaga, and you were acquitted, but the evidence that we know the courts of law. Yes. If these people, God never destroyed the NSC because of Wenzi, Soleimani yali mwenzi, naye Sodoma. Wamwe bebagamba Sodoma mukerawo naye Bujjingo balina omukuba kubanga wa Muhozi kakati ekintu ekyo today yego bawayize ebisiyaga yasigaleo awasize omukazi engalabiye Jessica didn't Jessica lana what one time I see Jessica teyaddukako why do you pressurize Bujjingo in fact he would be happy where is Manjeri now? Manjeri kasayajja ebintu mumawulire. Who knows whether Manjeri has a man, where he does not have a man, where's a chi? Even the Virgin Mary, after delivering Jesus, yes, he married. Yes. This is why we know. Yes. Was a Virgin Mary? Why? Testimony from Joseph. Yes. Joseph. How could we know if he had not married? We know? Yes. Yes. Therefore, a church nebufune fitina waliwo kali ku luguudo akawaliko emutegedde nennyoko n'afa nga tumuyamba gwe ogaba relief when your mother is dying in poverty you have a curse tokola bosiiwuka ng'empeefu tekasiiwuka ng'empeefu you are not religious yes ekiragiro kyokuna kikutulagira kiragira abazadde okulera abaana baabwe obulungi n'abaana okubalabirira nga bakadde omuganda aga nti olumye oluto olukumye olukadde naye nyoko ogaba relief nga nyoko mwavu nyoko abonaabo
mbere ya covid
nakono kafuntula entama kakuba Bujjingo nakone kafuntula entama sebo nikafuntula entama nikavuma Bujjingo nakone kafuntula entama katasobola kulabira nyina wawe nakone kafuntula entama ya bakantu kita kufuntula entama
mama wabona bwena agabira abantu mbere ya covid
yes tali
serious.
So therefore I'm telling you today we have reached the tail end. Bana abasajja bakola ensobi balowooza nti bajja kugula abazungu era nawulyanga lwabo nga this is stupid case balidde sente mu government has spent money but they will be convicted too even if you are not convicted and get a fine the fact that you have been arraigned before court for killing a Ugandan you cannot stand for elections.
Yes,
temusobola kujjayo mitwe tukuba butambi nomuddu nebalyoka muletanga duka kati mmwe sodo wamwe yayise so the organic case has solved the succession verdict in Uganda.
Naye wagamba tebaswala era bajja kuvayo
nga tuwakuba obuta nga duka n'omutwe gwe kyobalaba yali alowooza
obabanyi tebaswala after some time they will come
bwe ekyankwanza asobola okunteekamu neddasebo nfuuka empanama lwabwogo bwanteeka mwanda we yazairi tani into empanama kapuloni I turn into eboiro tosobola kunjoga
njagala kutegeera
bw'ojoga omutwe gwange yitegeeza kati okkirira kwanasi tosobola kunjoga lwabwogo nagaana okunjoga namulabanga mwavu if what has made him a rich man is marrying the president's daughter I will marry the daughter. Let me wait. I am still young. I will marry the daughter of the next president.
I see.
Fena buli omwayo keremo nisi kunjoga ino tuhimiriye emyaka 8 family yaffe neebonaabona n'atujoga ffenna n'agamba laba akatabo ke nawandikira Sudhir even when I ring Sudhir he does not answer lwaboko told him not to give me money even Michael one day he will suffocate me nedda nagenda waffe mu nsozi nenkuwaabira nja kulabako mu kagaali k'abalema nja kulabako ng'oli ku mpingu ng'oli ku pick up tusibe sente ejogo eyo emandwa tekubwa kubonabo tebali gwenja kusonyiwa ku nsi mu kabuli ne mu ggulu siri basonyiwa I've lost by the time they chase me I was in the I'm 63 I've lost I don't want a government job no what I want is compensation I regret the day I joined these people is when I lost you see credibility and future is like virginity you lose it once I see I lost bannange bonna okujjako beeyo n'oyo singa saagenda mu state house I will be a very rich man naye you humiliate omwana wa munno omugezi mange ne bamuba omwana wange ne bamutta is it how you do reward me ngende mbafukamire you never see me again
njagala kutegeera
I even so doubt whether these people will ever see me physically again.
Nze njagala kutegeera ku nsonga.
I avoid them because I can meet Lwabogo and the group at a road block by accident. I can meet Lwabogo in a prison cell. I can meet Lwabogo in a mass grave. I can meet Lwabogo where I don't need. In fact, for the last 8 years, I've not seen Mwenda physically. I've not seen Tumwebaze physically. I've not seen Tumwebaze Gondi Lwabogo physically. I've not seen Nakalema physically. I've not seen Narwiso physically, and I don't intend. When I meet one of them, it is a curse. It takes time. I have to go back home.
I see.
But what I fought for has come. That's why this is my new book. This one is my new book. It's the new one.
How
mafias undermine the Museveni government. A focus on women. Because Nankabira said that they should compensate women. Why do you compensate women? Why? Are they not interested here? Would we be talking to women when Museveni created rare and independent body and pumped it there for $400 million? I have all the documents. The documents are stated here as who stole that money. Ba munyumba ya Museveni. Museveni yabamanyi abazi. A death may become a melody. No, olunaku lumu nga bakaddiye tebakyasobola kubambaata bajja kubayola endulu zivuge bakijjeewa obalaba abasajja abakulu olaba abakadde be batwalira mu bugaali bw'abalema endulu zivuge oya alibayola alifuga emyaka 2 nga tewali kalulu renew endelea nga abantu bamugamba ez'okulonda ziteekeko abakulu abadduka olaba abasajja abakulu abatakyasobola kubambaata olabe nga Museveni yeetulidde wali ewuwe bajja kubatwala
atudde biki
ate mwali
is the one who is presiding over
anti bo baagala musuula era
country where they steal people's money.
I can understand. Ti Lwabogo Museveni yaleta sente Lwabogo n'azikwata bwe baatuuza Lwabogo yabagamba teyayogera ani yamulagiro zikwata neje ziri myayinamwe family man naye nange sirikolakanaako nammwe siribaddira siribaddamu ne babandagirako eddagala nti liri mu State House you never see me again njagala ejjooga eryo erijooga abaana b'abannammwe titwajja tubakolere mutujooge learn from today tetujjangako mu State House mutujooge banyaffe basula bakaaba I did not meander into State House. You invited me in the State House. Now you cannot humiliate me. Tukbaga no muna tamunde katukbaga ne myaka 8 I have the cost of resistance to fight for another 10 years.
Mzee jagala kumanya
I will never compromise with
jagala kumanya ku nsonga za Sudhir ezo okumuliza bank
musabira katonda nkere waffe mu nsozi n'enkuma ebyoto ne musabira
jagala kumanya
my God will punish him
jagala kumanya
because I'm innocent. African gods are fair. You only touch on the one who are the ugly person. Lwabogo will be punished.
Njagala kumanya mzee ku nsonga za Sudhir.
Anti Sudhir
what lies ahead? Bwe bamudiza banka tunaddamu ne tubankinga mu kuleini.
Yes.
Anaddamu naggulawo branches.
Nabagamba.
Anakola atya.
Why Kureni Bank has attracted public
attention. Nali njagala banki.
Kureni Bank was hailed as one of Uganda's solid banks. More so, Sudhir has been rubbing shoulders with the mighty giants and had constructed a number of buildings both in the city and across the country. His Kabila Country Club can be mistaken to be a meeting place for who is who in Uganda. When President Museveni met officials of Kasita over increased interest rates 5 years ago, he revealed that he had helped a relative to borrow money from Kureni Bank after failing to secure a loan from Stanbic Bank, formerly UCB under government. Museveni also revealed that when he wanted a loan for his close relative, he rang the manager of Stanbic Bank after his agents reminded him that the Stanbic is the one that took over UCB. The president said that he called the manager of Stanbic Bank, who was a Kenyan, only to be informed that he was out of the office. Museveni says that he went on to leave a message with the secretary, but stating clearly who he was, that he was the president of Uganda. The manager did not respond to the message. After waiting in vain, the president said he contacted Sudhir Pureria, who promised to provide the loan within a very short time. Furthermore, when the National Bank of Commerce, also known as the Bakiga Bank, got problems, its accounts were transferred to Kureni Bank. We also know that a critically sick person is usually referred to the best hospital in town.
Of course.
Even the best students are referred to best schools. Therefore, transferring the accounts of Bakiga Bank to Kureni Bank must have been done after proper evaluation by Bank of Uganda. One must remember that the governor of the Central Bank, Professor Mutebiri, is a Mukiga who could not have handed over a bank belonging to his clansmen, the Bakiga, to a bank that is at the verge of collapse. All of the issues I pointed out above prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Kureni Bank was the best bank at the time of closure. Actually, we didn't hear any account holder in the Bakiga Bank protesting against the transfer, an action that clearly demonstrates that every individual member had faith in the Kureni Bank and were assured that their money was safe. Mistakes committed by Bank of Uganda. The officials in the Bank of Uganda overlooked one important factor, the issue factor. Having seen other banks collapse, Ugandans cannot be taken for granted. Secondly, because it has been used by the mafia for a long period of time, the media has lost credibility. When the bombshell against Sudhir was unleashed to Ugandans, they rejected it and took it as usual rhetoric. The Bible talks about a stubborn boy who used to make false alarms, claiming that he had been attacked by a wolf or musege. After every false alarm, the people responded to save the sheep and the boy, only to find that it was a hoax. But when the real musege attacked, people had gotten used to the usual gimmicks and never responded, which resulted into the death of the boy. Similarly, Bank of Uganda had for a long time taken advantage of its influence to close banks. By the time they come to Kureni Bank, Ugandans had lost faith, credibility, and trust in the central bank. Mafia hallmarks in Kureni Bank. The public was able to smell and detect the mafia this time. I once witnessed an incident where a man who was having sex with a prostitute managed to identify the voice of his wife, who was also enjoying sex with another man, in what is casually termed as an away match. Conquered by rage, the man broke the door and as sure as death, his eyes fell on his wife. Similarly, in the Kureni Bank saga, they are gathering hallmarks of the Ugandan mafia. Mafias are known never to discuss the real issue. This is what they exactly did. The real issue would be, if a commercial bank collapses, who must take a responsibility? In this case, the responsibility of monitoring Kureni Bank solely lies with the Bank of Uganda. However, this role by Bank of Uganda was not highlighted. Let us try to compare Bank of Uganda to a secondary school. If a number of school girls fall pregnant while at school, who would be responsible? Is it the girls or the matron who is interested with their protection? In my opinion, the parents and the school authorities entrust the responsibility of protecting school girls into the hands of the school matron. Sudhir was also subjected to negative publicity. Newspapers were awash with the photographs of the lavish wedding ceremony for his daughter, and it seemed all was well, including the management of Kureni Bank. I posed a simple question. If Christians entrust their funds with the church treasurer, but he goes on to buy a Porsche car for his wife, when do they come out to question whether he was using their money or not? Why did the Bank of Uganda fail to alert Ugandans that Sudhir was using public funds to finance lavish weddings for his daughters? At the wedding, Sudhir invited many Ugandans, including journalists. Why didn't they sound alarming bells at the time? Baganda say, Olwatu omwami nalumanya, nti lwaki tewayogera. This saying literally means that it is stupid for a widow to maintain the silence of the cause of her husband's illness, only to disclose after he has died. People will question why he did not alert the relatives where her husband was still alive and could be saved. Therefore, Bank of Uganda should not have used the wedding ceremony of Sudhir's daughter to disgrace him. Why didn't they intervene before his daughter's wedding? In addition to that, Bank of Uganda came up with a list of lawyers lined up against Sudhir. The central bank had allocated 15 billion for the job. This also exposed the real intentions of the mafia outfit. Legal costs are normally calculated after judgment of the case. On which basis did the Bank of Uganda determine this figure even before commencement of the case? This is what I ask these people.
Yes.
How do you determine? You are dangling money to me. Who sat down with me to ask me the loss I've made in the 8 years?
To know that
where on which
much,
basis?
we should give him
Did you
this
sell
amount.
your cows? Did you sell your cows? This is government money. If you feel that I was aggrieved and I incurred losses, another government will pay me.
I see.
Because that was not your first initiative.
How did they reach the net
Yes.
amount?
In conclusion, in Tanzania there is a rule left there by Julius Nyerere. One day, Nyerere was going to close a conference, and he realized that his driver was yawning. Nyerere, being a socialist and a concerned man, asked the younger man, why are you yawning every time? The younger man told him, I'm hungry. You are hungry? Why? By the time we left the State House, we had not been served with the breakfast. Nyerere stopped in a nearby trading center and bought mandazi and tea for the driver and waited the driver to drink his tea. This he did at the chaggering of his security. People who guard the president are very scared about stopovers that they do not calculate. Why? Everywhere the president is going to make a stopover, security is beefed up. So when the president makes a stopover, which they don't consider very highly risky, who has told him, what if it is so? They warned the man, utaona, you make the president wait for you to drink, iyo mke yako, raisi mke yako. But when the man went back, they harassed him, subjected him to a salary beat, and the man escaped. Nyerere had information that his mandazi man, driver, mwendesha wa gari ya mandazi, had left. Amekimbia. Nyerere waited to embarrass his security people. There was a very big meeting attended by international donors. Nyerere sat at the balcony and he said, I want to be driven by my mandazi mwendesha ya gari. Buringi, the mandazi man. Tanzania is a big country. The man had gone back to the rural areas. They had to use an helicopter to land in his village. When the man saw the helicopter landing, he entered the forest. Because he knew.
The guy took off.
Yes.
They're
now coming for me.
They were taking him back to detention.
They used loudspeakers. Ndugu, rais anataka wewe, ndugu, pana kimbia, ndugu rudi, a holiday. The man hid himself in the, and Nyerere did not attend any function, waiting his mandazi driver. In the evening, the man sneaked back to his home. This is how security nabbed him. Ne bamutwala, ne bamukolako enviiri, ne bamukolaki, ne bamutwalira Nyerere. Nyerere gave a directive that stands up to today in the Dar es Salaam State House. It is a president is served after his drivers and security have been served. Namwe obujozi bwe mujoza abaana b'abannammwe mu State House ne mulowooza nti twajja mutujooge n'atwala 5 billion ye n'agula ebizimbe nze mbwa ne munkanyuka kasasiro ku jirikiti. Ejirikiti is for dead dogs. Ejirikiti is, I just respect Museveni. There's no way I could become an advisor. Not at all. Sitikiriyo. That was, I'm not a civil servant. My option was to go home. But because I knew, I think the president saw to that I could not make ends meet. I didn't bujja. Mutane meet yosin. Nanje kutaka sajjakwe. Kale munivisa million atatu. Nanje kuba nkutte. Kakati olwabwoko. Mwenna gwe yaleeta. Nzolwali okuvaamu. N'ateeka mu ssente. N'amusasula yoddoni. Genda. Singa wajja ekyankwanzi gwe. Nenkumalawo. Forget about me. We shall never meet. Even God cannot reconcile me with Lwabo. I prefer death to meeting Lwabo.
Okay.
Let us go.